Today, we are diving into what is arguably the biggest force shaping our world, artificial intelligence. I mean, this thing is a revolution. And like any revolution, it's got leaders with some very different ideas about where we should all be heading. So we're going to look at two of them, a technologist statesman and a futurist mayor. And, the stakes here could not be higher. This single quote, which both of our figures totally agree on, really sets the stage for everything. See, AI isn't just another cool invention. It's a fundamental test for humanity itself. It's a tool with just immense promise, but also, immense peril. So who are our two navigators on this wild journey? Well, on one side, you've got Eric Schmidt. This is the former CEO of Google. I mean, he's been in the engine room of this technology for decades, and now he's advising at the absolute highest levels of national security. And on the other side, Francis Suarez, the super tech-savvy mayor of Miami, who's out there on the front lines, really focused on marketing his city as the home of the future. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to start with what they agree on, and then we'll explore their very different visions for AI's promise. After that, we'll look at the dangers that keep them up at night. We'll compare their leadership playbooks. And finally, we'll see where their paths might just come together on the future of humanity and AI. Before we get into all their differences, it's super important to understand that both Schmidt and Suarez are starting from the exact same place. They have this shared foundational belief in the sheer raw power of this technology. They both look at AI and see this historic, almost alien-like intelligence that could potentially solve some of our deepest human tragedies, like finding a cure for ALS. And they both agree that the ultimate goal here isn't to replace us, but to augment us. The future, for both of them, is humans plus AI. But right here, this is where their maps start to look very, very different. They totally agree on the destination, a better world thanks to AI. But the routes for getting there? They split off pretty dramatically based on what they think the real promise of AI actually is. So Schmidt, he's been shaped by all those years at the absolute cutting edge of deep tech. For him, the promise is in these fundamental, world-changing breakthroughs. He's talking about AI that can reason, that can solve problems in math and science that are just way beyond us. For him, the ultimate win is AI writing its own software. But then you have Suarez, whose job is to make a city run better, like right now, today. He sees the promise in practical, immediate empowerment, using AI to make city services more efficient and helping people communicate better starting this afternoon. And Suarez, he doesn't just talk the talk, he really lives the stuff. He shared this story that just perfectly captures his vision of AI as a tool for the here and now. And this story, it just gets right to the heart of his whole philosophy. It's not about some distant sci-fi future, it's about practical magic. The AI wasn't just a tool. It was like a partner in communication, a personal amplifier that let him connect with his audience right there in the moment. That, for Suarez, is the true promise. But here's what's so fascinating. Even Schmidt, with his head way up in the clouds of deep science, shares this vision of individual empowerment. He literally predicts that we'll all have an Einstein or a Da Vinci-level genius just sitting in our pocket. So while their focus is different, the destination is kind of the same, a world of radically empowered people. Okay, let's flip the coin. If the promise is that big, the peril has to be just as massive, right? So what are the dangers that truly keep these two leaders up at night? Well, as you might guess, their professional backgrounds really color what kinds of threats they see on the horizon. They're both worried, for sure, but they are worried about very different things. And this right here is where the contrast is just so stark. Schmidt, who's seen the raw, unpredictable power of these systems from the inside, he's worried about what he calls movie scenarios. The AI becoming an independent agent, improving itself over and over until it's totally beyond our control. But Suarez, as a politician, he's way more focused on the geopolitical risk. For him, the fear isn't the AI itself, but the nefarious human actors or rival nations who will absolutely try to weaponize it. To deal with his fear, Schmidt has a really clear proposal. We have to establish red lines. These are just hard boundaries, lines in the sand, where we all agree as a global community that it is fundamentally wrong to give an AI the power to make a decision. And the most obvious example, never, ever, ever letting an AI decide to launch nuclear weapons. So with these different visions of promise and these different fears of peril, it is absolutely no surprise that they have completely different playbooks for how to lead us through this whole transformation. For Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, leadership and innovation in the age of AI, well, it all starts with this one number, 10. For Schmidt, the whole point is to apply that classic corporate Silicon Valley mindset to a massive national challenge. He's all about creating small, lean teams, no more than 10 people, to drive innovation. He wants to cut out all the bureaucracy, what he calls the glue people, and force everyone to think 5 years down the road to really get a handle on the insane exponential growth of this technology. Now, Suarez, on the other hand, is coming from a position with pretty limited formal power as Miami's mayor. So he has a totally different playbook. He can't command the engineers, so instead, he acts as the city's chief marketing officer. His whole strategy is about attraction. It's about creating a vibe. He markets Miami as the capital of capital. He publicly embraces every new tech trend from crypto to flying cars, and he works to streamline the bureaucracy to make the city just irresistible to talent. His famous catchphrase, "How can I help?" basically became a viral invitation to the entire tech world. So here we are. We have two very different leaders with two very different maps. But what's really remarkable is that they both believe they're navigating toward the same fundamental destination, and it's anchored by the exact same core principle. You know, when you boil it all down, for both Schmidt and Suarez, the ultimate solution isn't just about the technology. It's about making sure that this incredibly powerful AI is developed right here in America, guided by American values like individual liberty, and built on the foundation of American human talent, our curiosity, our education, and our resilience. And this quote just perfectly captures the dizzying, frankly insane challenge ahead of us. We're in a rocket ship that not only has infinite fuel, but is accelerating underneath our feet constantly. We can't stop it. Our only choice is to build the guidance systems and draw the maps while the engines are already firing. And that, of course, brings us to the final big question. As we try to navigate this new frontier, who do we need at the helm? Do we need the deep tech strategist, meticulously drawing red lines and optimizing every little thing for innovation? Or do we need the visionary marketer, creating this magnetic pull towards the future? Or maybe the real answer is that we desperately need both.